what organizations are doing to protect information resources. Why is it so difficult to stop cyber criminals? Table 4.3 illustrates this concept and the major difficulties to protect information. These include hundreds of potential threats that exist. Computer resources may be situated in many locations. Many individual controls will have access to information assets. Computer networks can be located outside the organization, making them difficult to protect. Rapid technology changes make some controls obsolete as soon as they are installed. Many computer crimes are undetected for a long period of time, so difficult to learn from experience. People tend to violate security procedures because the procedures are inconvenient. The amount of computer knowledge necessary to commit computer crimes is usually minimal. As a matter of fact, a potential criminal can learn hacking for free on the internet. The cost of preventing hazards can be very high. Therefore, most organizations simply cannot afford to protect themselves against all possible hazards. It is difficult to conduct a cost-benefit justification for controls before an attack occurs because it is difficult to assess the impact of a hypothetical threat. Because organizing an appropriate defense system is so important to the entire enterprise, it is one of the major responsibility of any product CIO, as well as of the functional managers who control information resources. In fact, IT security is the business of everyone in an organization. In addition to the problems listed in Table 4.3, another reason why information resources are difficult to protect is that the online commerce industry is not particularly willing to install safeguards that would make completing transactions more difficult or complicated. As one example, merchants could demand passwords or personal identification numbers for all credit card transactions. However, these requirements might discourage people from shopping online. For credit card companies, it is cheaper to block a stolen card and move on than to invest time and money on a prosecution. Despite these difficulties, the information security industry is battling back against cybercrime. Companies are developing a software and services that deliver early warnings of trouble on the internet. Unlike traditional antivirus software, which is reactive, early warning systems are proactive, scanning the web for new viruses and alerting companies to the danger. Organizations spend a great deal of time and money protecting their information resources. Before doing so, they perform risk analysis. Define risk. A risk is a probability that a threat will impact an information resource. The goal of risk management is to identify, control, and minimize the impact of threats. Organizations perform risk analysis to ensure that their IS security programs are cost-effective. Risk analysis involves 3 steps. Firstly, to assess the value of each asset being protected. Secondly, estimating the probability that each estimate will be compromised. And thirdly, comparing the probable cost of the assets being compromised with the cost of protecting that asset. In risk mitigation, the organization takes concrete actions against risk. Risk mitigation has 2 functions: implementing controls to prevent and identify threats from occurring, and developing a means of recovering if the threat becomes reality. So, in risk mitigation, we're talking about risk acceptance, risk limitation, and risk transference. Risk acceptance is to accept the potential risk, continue operating with no controls, and absorb any damages that occur. Risk limitation is to limit the risk by implementing controls that minimize the impact of the threat. Risk transference is to transfer the risk by using other means to compensate for the loss, such as by purchasing insurance. Finally, in controls evaluation, the organization examines the cost of implementing adequate control measures against the value of these control measures.